Hi, this is Mark Campos. Video blog number 5. I got 3 activities that I did last week. First 2 at the district level and 1 at the secondary level. First one is I went and talked to our superintendent about food service. This is something that I thought was kind of interesting to kind of learn about. With all the different changes in terms of regulation and guidelines involving food service, trying to get healthier options for students during school lunch. This is something that I thought was kind of interesting to learn about. I guess the idea behind it is obesity in America's children. Kids apparently are getting obese from school lunches, and not the fact that they go to their locker and munch on chips or donuts or whatever else they bring from home afterwards, but whatever. In terms of the change of regulation at the national level, this had a minor effect on us in terms of financially. Our costs have gone down a little bit because we've found more efficient ways to do things here for us in terms of food service. What we do is we learn. We just, it's trial and error basically what it is. So with all these new healthier options that need to be given to these students at lunch, the cooks have figured out that if there's a certain food that gets thrown away a lot more than any others, they know not to serve it again. So they just kind of take their cues from the students, trying to figure out what it is that they like. For me, going back to when I was in school, I kind of thought food service was have one head cook and then all of her little helper cooks. They make the meals for the week, kind of get the menu out, and then they just make the food, and then that's it and done and over with. But now, with all these new regulations, there's more things that that have to be done. So there's actually dietary science positions that need to be filled. So, and this person, they're the ones that have to be in compliance with all these new federal guidelines and regulations to ensure that students are receiving healthier lunches, healthy lunch options now. So there's health codes that need to be followed to prevent sickness, and they also got to deal with food inspection that happen twice a year. I know that one inspection, they do tell us that they're coming to kind of check our records, free and reduced lunch records, make sure applications are filled out correctly, that everybody is all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed on that aspect. And they also come another time that's unannounced just to kind of check working conditions, to make sure that everything is sanitary, that everything is safe in working environment for the food preparation and also in the cafeteria. So this was something that was kind of interesting that I knew had been a focus for change at the national level to try and get healthy options into school. So this was something that I thought would be interesting. Another activity that I did, I also talked with our superintendent and talked about transportation. In terms of transportation, students can get picked up and to go to school and be taken home if they live 2.5 miles away from the school. I did not know that. I just thought it was just all those kids that just lived clear out in the country, next to another county or whatever. But it's 2.5 miles. So a lot of the smaller schools that I've been in, obviously the town's not that big, so 2.5 miles means those country kids. And they said 2.5 miles is from the flagpole of the school to the front door of the resident, and it's got to be the most direct route to the school. You can't go over 2.5 miles by circling around the park and heading up to the hospital a couple times and going to school. It's got to be a direct route to the school. In terms of transportation, everybody that's involved in transportation, they have weekly meetings that are set up. They go over emergency drills. They have safety measures that are in place that they practice with the students that are in the buses. They go over their little spiel in case of an emergency exit to the front and the top of the bus, and windows can be pushed out to escape, and this, that, and the other. I'm sure we've all heard it before. Older vehicles in the district that have been around for a while, once they've been deemed not suitable for student transportation, they just don't get rid of those. Those can still be used by faculty members, teachers, administration, whoever needs it. I know here in Scott City, our school nurse uses a school vehicle to transport or to go between schools, because she's housed at the grade school, but she uses the school vehicle to drive to the high school and to the middle school as well. So once they've decided to get rid of these vehicles, older vehicles, they can't just sell them off. What has to happen is the Board of Education has to surplus them in order to get rid of them. They can't just, sell them off to the first person that wants to pay a couple $100 for an old car. So a lot of things that need to happen in terms of that route to getting rid of old vehicles. Something that I thought was kind of interesting, yellow buses. They have a 25-year max lifespan. So after the 25 years, they are no longer suitable for transporting students. But activity buses, there's no limit in terms of how long you can use those. And I've seen districts, what they do to get a new activity bus is they take an old yellow bus, spray paint it, paint the outside of it, kind of remodel the inside of it, make it a little bit more cozy, I guess, and then call it an activity bus. So there you go. Kudos for them for finding less cost-effective measures for finding, activity buses. But yeah, there's a lot of policies that have been put in place to protect the school in terms of use of school vehicles. I know that we kind of talked about the superintendent said that he was in a district that whenever the community would need transportation for large events or whatever, they would go to the school and say, hey, can we use your buses to go to this event? The school board there had no problem. They said, that's fine. Find your drone driver, pay for your own gas, and anything else that comes up, you handle it. I've been in districts where that's not the case, where you can't use school vehicles for that matter. So it just kind of depends on the school board, how they feel about the public using school vehicles, and also its own staff using school vehicles. Because I know one district I was in, we were able to use a school vehicle to transport students during the summer to a team summer camp, where in another district, the same summer camp, we weren't. So it just kind of depends on what district you're in. So the last thing I did was probably the best one that I've done so far. It was the Principals League meeting at the high school. And what it is, it's just basically an informal meeting, get together of our league principals. In our league we have Goodland, Colby, us, Scott City, Holcomb, Ulysses, and Goodland, or Hugoton. So there's six principals. And we meet in Scott City because this is the central location for all of the league schools. But it's just kind of an informal meeting. They just come to discuss any and everything that's going on in their school, have questions about, how a different school is doing it, maybe doing something different, something that's working in their school that may not be working in another. But some of the items that were discussed talked about assessments. With the new change in assessments, this KITE system, everybody hates it, nobody likes it. They are anticipating huge problems with it. So we talked about that for quite a bit of time, about the concerns that are going to obviously come up with that later on. Also talked about advocate meetings, how is it being done in the different schools. I guess just gathering information as to what's working, what's not working. Also talked about virtual classrooms. Some of our league schools have virtual classroom options that are totally separate from the high school, and some that incorporate it along with the high school. I know that one school, Goodland, they took a trip to visit a couple other schools to kind of see how their virtual coursework is set up and how it's used there. They visited a couple schools up around central Kansas. One school in particular that they mentioned is that a student can choose to take virtual classes entirely and not step a foot into the classroom on campus and still graduate with the rest of his classmates. But if they wanted to participate in any activities such as sports or any other academic activities, they need to have at least one class on campus. So that was kind of interesting on that aspect. They also had like random questions about how other things are being done in schools. I know prom questions is we talked about that a little bit, and I don't know, some of you may or may not have heard about the little I guess scandal here in Scott City of a openly gay student wanting to bring a guest of the same sex to our prom. Decided to take it upon himself to get a petition on Facebook signed by about 4,000 people so far, but he doesn't want publicity for it. But the funny thing is that he has yet to turn in a guest request form to our principal for that. So he's basically taken a petition out to make sure that he's not being discriminated against, but yet he's failed to turn in the petition request. So he hasn't even given our principal a chance to say no. So, but after talking with our principal, she said it was not going to be a problem whatsoever. Bring whoever you want to the prom. It's not a big deal. We have certain standards in terms of requirements for guests. They have to be a junior or senior in another school, and they have to be in good standing. As long as they meet that criteria, you can bring whoever you want. So I guess this student wanted to make it their own personal crusade to do this. So whatever. Other questions we talked about, or the things, pre-enrollment questions, how it's going to be done in different schools, what will it look like, to kind of figure out the best way to do it. Also, Stuco questions. I know one of the schools in our league is looking for guidelines, just documentation of how to run a Stuco, because they're trying to, I guess, get their Stuco in their school a little bit more regulated and with more guidelines to follow, instead of just kind of like being a club, is how we put it. Also, community service events that go on at different schools. I know one of the league schools says that, and this is all run by their students, which I think is an awesome idea. They have instead of having a senior skip day where they don't come to school, during that senior skip day, they use that to go out and do community service projects. They're in that community. They know about it. They contact the school and say, hey, I need this done. Whatever it is that community people need. And during that senior skip day, they kind of break up into groups and they just go out to the community and just do those things. So I think that's kind of cool idea for them to kind of give back to their community. Also talk about teaching positions that are opening up. I know the hot position here in western Kansas is math. In Scott City alone, we're going to need to fill 2 math positions. So a lot of the league schools have mentioned that math is one position that they will be looking for to fill. And a lot of candidates that have already applied have obviously applied to multiple schools in our league. So we just kind of talked about each one that kind of applied. Other things, talk about school safety issues in some school. I know that it's kind of becoming a little bit of a problem just due to reduced police officer availability in some of the league school cities. Also talk about school technologies. I know that Scott City and Goodland are going to have planning on having a one-to-one iPad initiative for the students. Another school has mobile iPad carts or labs for the students to use. Another school has laptops for every student. So it's just different in each school. So this meeting was really good for the fact that it brought us all together to kind of talk about the successes that we're having in our school, talk about some of the failures we've had, to see how other schools are doing the things, to kind of see if it could help each other do things more efficiently and more effectively. So this is probably one of the better things that I've done, and I know that when I become an administrator, I'm going to need a lot of help, and being able to reach out to your fellow administrators in different schools is going to be a huge key to providing success for yourself. So that's it for today, and I will do another video later. See ya.